Hello, welcome to the Oxen Group Nightly. My name is David Ristow. I'm the CEO, President, and Founder of the Oxen Group. Check us out at www.theoxengroup.com. On tonight's Nightly, we're going to be talking about Wednesday's market wrap-up. We'll be looking at a couple new positions we took today in Molycorp, Monster Worldwide, as well as some of our other current positions and exits. I'll briefly be updating you on the extended value portfolio, some things going on there, forecast for tomorrow, and always check out our disclaimer at the end of the video. The market wrap-up. So we had a great pullback today in the market, and I say it's great because we highly were expecting it here at the Oxen Group. Literally, we are setting up perfectly for the type of week we expected. We expected small down days on Monday and Tuesday, a large down day on Wednesday, a little bit of a recovery on Thursday, and then Friday really, it's question mark. It really kind of depends on those unemployment numbers, I think, with either it could be a nice down day, it could be a slight up day, but it's really kind of going to depend on the unemployment numbers. But today was really fueled by a combination of bad earnings and bad economic data. We had weak earnings from Kellogg's, Las Vegas Sands, First Solar, Time Warner was pretty weak, and overall everything was pretty much weighing on the market from the earnings side. And then also we had some pretty weak numbers, I thought, from the ADP, 179,000. We saw growth, but missed the estimate of 200,000, continues to sort of be that slow growth in the ADP. I think people are expecting more now, as that number has continued to come out around 200 to 300,000. Also, ISM services surprisingly dropped. As you can see in the index, prices dropped, which is interesting considering there's been all this inflation fear, as well as your total dropped on the services index. And it was a very surprise drop from March, which was at a high. And couldn't really find a good explanation or a reasoning for it. I saw a couple sort of hypotheses, but overall that weighed on the market as well today, and I think that was really the catalyst that we needed to get that healthy pullback. I do think that this pullback is a very healthy one. I think that you had really good earnings, and now you had some overvaluation. You got a lot of companies coming down off of those highs. And you see a lot of people taking profits and willing to sell off today to get those profits. And I think you also saw some people getting themselves into the market and buying up. Also, the market did drop significantly on the day, as you see right out of the gate. We had this huge sell, and this is the IMS Services Index. Literally, it comes out right about here, and the market just tanked on it, dropped out of the gate, and really fell to a low here at midday, and then sort of popped off of that and rallied most of the rest of the day. And I mean, this wasn't a great rally. I mean, we were down 120 to 130 at the lowest, and moved up to about 80 down on the day. I thought the buying was good to see, because it is good to see that on the discounts we did have people coming in and willing to purchase and buy things up and push things back up, which is a healthy sign. It's a good sign. We could have, if this was a weaker market without the sort of strong fundamentals, we could have definitely seen a drop down there and then breaking even lower. But we hit a pretty interesting point in the S&P. Saw some support there and on the Dow, and got some buying. And it's not to say that I think I'm very bullish at this point in time. I think the market definitely is still a bit overvalued here, but I think you do see gonna see more quickly than should be happening, people getting back into some discounted things. Anything that had a significant drop that's moved back, that had some strong earnings, they want to get right back into it. And I think you're seeing more money going to be flowing into equities from fixed income, and I think that's going to continue to drive us higher. And as I've said, I think we're going to have 1,400 on the S&P before 1,300, and I'm very, very that's how we are positioning ourselves. Molycorp, we bought into Molycorp today at 72.20, and the stock had a great day yesterday after an upgrade, and basically gave up all those gains today and more. And at one point it was below 70, and popped below that moving average, but really settled quickly back above it and sort of gained off that. And as it started to move off that moving average, we picked it up basically right at its 20-day moving average at 72.20. We picked it up, and then the stock was able to rally for a 2% gain up to 73.65 at one point towards the close. We took a little bit off there, but I do think that this stock has a lot of potential moving in. They have their earnings on Tuesday. They're expected to hit their first EPS profit and see some pretty solid revenue for the first time ever. They're going to be in the green, and I think that really is a very bullish thing for any company. When you move from negative from a last quarter or from a year ago to a gain, the market just loves that. Now, obviously, you can see that this stock has had a lot of love. I mean, there's no doubt in my mind. But you do look at the price targets, and this stock is still under where a lot of people think it is. I mean, you see some of the high price targets coming in the 120s now to 130s on this stock. Even the sort of lower end is in the mid 70s. So this stock's really trading below where a lot of analysts have it priced. And also, the future price to earnings ratio is only 22 on this stock, and for a material stock, that's not a very significant PE ratio. I mean, I think this stock is probably pretty fairly valued around 80, and I think, but I do think it's a high flyer, and I expect it probably will go to, before the end of the year, 100 to 120. And I think that moving into this earnings, this is the best that you can. This is the first time this company's going to report profit since IPOing, and that, I mean, you look at what it's done in its last earnings, or I'm sorry, after its last earnings reports. I mean, this stock has flown up out of. I mean, it dropped on its last one, but really flew up into the earnings report, and then again flew up into this earnings report. You've seen it kind of creeping up. That's not as significant. This drop, though, allows it to get right back up to, I think, around 75, 76. In the near term, maybe tomorrow or Friday, which is our second price target, 75.80. And then I think you can see it's finally going next week up to maybe around 79 to 80. I highly think that the stock can break out to that level. I think that that while the materials have been a little weak as of late, which we were able to take advantage of, this is not your typical basic materials company. This is a company that is in a rare earths materials. It's a new IPO, and it's a company that people want to buy. And on any weakness you see, this stock gets bought back up. Big drop, bought back up. Big drop, bought back up. Big drop, bought back up. I mean, any significant drops in this stock, and it rallies right back up. And heading into earnings, it's a great catalyst and a reason for people to get in. We also tried a short sale here today on Monster Worldwide. With those, I thought those ADP numbers were pretty weak, and I think that moving into the unemployment numbers, and I don't think that there's a lot of bullish sentiment around it. I don't think people are expecting much out of it. And I was expecting the stock to really break down today, move past its 50-day moving average at 1630, and drop off and probably go to below 16. That did not happen. We're definitely going to have to reassess this position tomorrow. We're in at 1639. I don't think the upside of the stock is very great at this point, although I do not think that if it cannot break on today, 1630, especially with ADP numbers, it's going to be interesting to see what it can do tomorrow. They had pretty weak earnings a few days ago. Here you see this red bar was the earnings, and it's trailed off since then, but it's right now it's very stuck, and I think that it needs a big catalyst either to the upside or the downside. I don't see much happening with it probably again tomorrow, but I do worry that if those Friday numbers are better than expected, the stock could rally off that. If they're much worse than expected, we could see it drop off. Other current positions, I recommended a Trina Solar short at the open. That went down over 3% on the day. We didn't actually enter it because it just missed our range by about 9 cents. But if you did take advantage of that, you had a pretty outstanding day with that one. We exited our basic materials inverse ETF SMN from ProShares for a 5% gain today. as I think that one is starting to probably hit its topping point. Maybe has another big day out of it, but again, I think tomorrow will probably be a recovery day. And then we had a slew of recommendations in short sales yesterday. Kirk's, that was good for 4% today. MTU was good for 0.5%, and Beazer Homes was good for 2%. That was off of our $5 list. Extended value portfolio, we're definitely, after a couple weak days on Tata Motors, the Sensex is showing some very strong weakness. Definitely questioning that position. We're going to be watching it very closely. It broke through a key support level today, and right now the technicals are all saying downward. I mean, this is a very fundamentally driven portfolio, and I do like this stock long term, but I think in the near term it could be ready for some significant weakness. We may be looking to exit that position for either about neutral to a small loss, to help sort of alleviate that, maybe buy in later once we see some more positives coming into that stock. We'll be watching that one tomorrow. JA Solar, definitely looking like an opportunity right now. It's right about at its 52-week low. And with First Solar's earnings tonight, they had a lot of weakness come in, but we saw good earnings in after hours from MEMC Electronics, who is a solar company or a solar provider, provides parts for solar companies, as well as the company is reporting earnings on Tuesday, and they're expected to be very, very good year over year. That's the case for a lot of solar companies. It doesn't always mean good things for these companies, but I do think it's at a bottom. It's at its 52-week low. I don't see it dropping below $6. I think with the catalyst from MENC, this could be a nice little pickup tomorrow. Tomorrow's forecast. For tomorrow, we had a market pullback for 3 straight days as forecasted, and we do expect a recovery tomorrow. We had good earnings this evening from Electronic Arts, Whole Foods, Tesla, MEMC. Nobody was a market leader, but when you get a whole bunch of companies all really reporting very well, these companies are all up big in after hours. I mean, after a big sell-off today, Electronic Arts was up over 6, Whole Foods was up over 7, Tesla was at 5. I saw MEMC up about 4. So a lot of companies also on the docket tomorrow. Not a lot of market leaders, but some of your smaller companies like Sara Lee and China Sunergy and are going to be reporting tomorrow. Also got initial claims on the docket. Again, unemployment. It hasn't been good for a few weeks in a row. If that could drop, that would be very good for the market. But I think we're going to continue to see sort of a 400 to 420,000 range on the initial claims. That's going to do it for today. Visit www.theoxengroup.com. Email us. Please call us. Be a part of our 70% accuracy.